Good evening, and welcome to SL Tonight. Now I know what you're expecting. Horror, irony, the universe correcting for human overconfidence in the most unpleasant way possible. Not tonight. Tonight, we're taking a detour. SL Toons, funny pages. Because all doom and gloom gets old, and even the late night crowd deserves a laugh. G.I. Joe, issue 21. Ziff-Davis Publishing, May 1953. Not the action figure, not the cartoon, not Cobra Commander. This is the original G.I. Joe, a comic book about American soldiers in Korea that Ziff-Davis ran monthly from 1951 to 1957, and which nobody has thought about since. Most of it is straight war comic, soldiers being heroic, doing their jobs, Korea looking cold and difficult. But buried in every issue was a feature called The Yardbirds, drawn by a young Dan DeCarlo. The same Dan DeCarlo who would go on to define the entire Archie Comics house style and create Josie and the Pussycats. In 1953, he was drawing two soldiers named Wendy and Whitey getting into trouble at a military base in a strip that reads like Hogan's Heroes 3 years before Hogan's Heroes existed. We also have a Kentucky private who knows baseball rules better than he knows warfare, Joe going underwater in a frogman suit, and a one-page ad for a 70-piece Space Patrol plastic kit that I genuinely want. Felix Lubezki, SL Tonight, let's read. We open on the inside front cover, GI Laughs, a single page of military gag cartoons by Vic Martin, single-panel jokes, quick delivery, the kind of thing that ran in every military magazine from 1941 on. Read them straight, the jokes are either going to land or they're not, and either way, it is one page. Statement for Brooklyn is 12 pages and the issue's longest story. Irv Novick on art and a premise that is essentially a one-joke setup stretched across a full Korean War firefight. Private Merkel from Kentucky knows baseball. He knows it the way some people know scripture. Every tactical situation, every command decision, every moment of combat, Merkel processes it through baseball. The Army has not figured out yet whether this is a liability or an asset. Neither has Merkel. The game's the same whether it's war, poker, or baseball. The object's to win, and baseball, being the GI's favorite game next to poker, is played practically all season long. Private Merkel may never have bothered much about showing it, but nobody in Baker Company was more aware of the rules. Hey Hoosier, look out! Get down, Babe Ruth, Tommy'll nail ya! Boy, wait till we play K Company, we'll slaughter 'em. Ah, Ooster play ball back in Russell Grove, Kentucky. Sure was fun. Easy game though, mighty easy. Baseball? Easy? Merkel, I'll bet you've never even seen a big league game. I'll bet he never heard of Joe DiMaggio. Nope, but man's Uncle Slade's a mighty good judge, and he always favored the Russell Grove Nine. Uncle Slade? Russell Grove 9? Oh my aching. Jump, Hoosier! Crack! Better get low, Hoosier. One of them commies might know how to shoot. A week later at rest camp, Joe Burch is pitching for the Bombast. He'd better be good, because the killer's pitcher used to play in the American League. Practice. Watch the arm, Joe. You don't want to throw it out. We're depending on you. Feels great, Sarge. I could go 9 innings right now. Relax. It's 2 days before the game, and you're the only pitcher we got. Oh, here comes Merkel. Sarge, how's for letting me try out for the game? Don't tell me the great Merkel wants to play ball with us. Okay, grab a glove. Well, I never used a glove before, but I'm sure willing to try. Never used a glove? You'll use one and like it. Now get over and cover second while I knock you a few. This hunk of pig hide fits sort of snug. Oh, well, this felt Uncle Slade didn't like gloves. Sort of took fun out of playing baseball. Uncle Slade? Who's your Uncle Slade? Baseball ain't baseball without a glove. And you're gonna use one. Now get out there and catch a few. Pitch me a pretty one, Joe. Let's see if the great Merkel can stop it. Right here, Joe boy. Let's have it. Dig it up, Merkel, and play it home. Attaboy, Sarge. Nice one. Crack! Dang glove would have had it barehanded. What happened, Merkel? I ain't used gloves. It fooled me. Well, I say you use a glove. Understand? Now get out your position. Okay, Sarge, but you're slowing up my game. Knock a few the great Merkel's way, Hoosier. He needs to practice the game. That guy is fast, Sarge. He's gonna be tough to hit. He's good, but we'll make him pitch to us. He'll have to watch the corners then. Innings later, top half of the ninth, Bombast at bat. It's a homer. Attaboy, Burch. Slam. Wow, 7-6. That puts us one ahead, Joe. You're winning your own game, Joe boy. Merkel, you're up. There's 2 away, so try and get it down. 3 swings later. You're out. That's the 3rd strikeout for Merkel. The guy couldn't hit a balloon with a tennis racket. We're on 1 run ahead, Sarge. We can hold them. This is the last time at bat. Bear down on them, Joe, and we'll take the game. Put it where they don't want it, Joe. Boy, there's just 3 to go. The first pitch, and it hit his pitching arm. Whew, that ball really winged me. Ah, you'll be okay in a minute. We'll soon know. Doc's on his way over. No more pitching for you, Burch. You got a bad bruise. There goes the game. We ain't got another good pitcher. I'll pitch. They won't even see the ball. Sarge, can pitch some. Less-wise Uncle Slade always acted so. His eyes shine like a pig's wet snoot whenever I'd wang in a few. Merkel, if you pitch like you bat, you stay in the outfield. I'll let you know if I need any help. Minutes later, a man on first, the second batter up. Get a pitcher! To the showers! Ball 4! 3 pitches later. Ball 3! Want to move in a little closer, Mulvaney, and try it underhand? Hold on to your bat, Junior, because I'm going to knock it out of your hands. Ball 4. No outs, bases loaded, and Martin's up. I heard you bet against Baker's Phil. Looks like it's going to pay off. Bases loaded? No outs? We got to do something, Sarge. Your control's gone, Sarge. You got to relax. How about Merkel pitching? Okay, things can't get any worse. Let the great Merkel bring on the slaughter. Merkel warms up on the mound. What a wind-up. Ha ha. My sister could throw faster than that. Back to the hills, Merkel. Come on, Merkel. Let's see a fast one. This is going to be like taking candy from a baby. All likes to warm up kind of slow and save the speed for the batter. Boom. Batter up. Strike 1. Holy cats, I hardly saw the ball. Where'd it go? And I knowed I'd get rusty. Strike 2. I never saw nothing like it. Boy, what speed. Strike 3. Did you see that ball move? Woo, that's 1 out. Merkel's knocking himself out. Just watch. He'll blow up. 2 strikes later. Strike 3. 2 away on 6 pitches. This guy Merkel's good. So good he might cost you some dough. Nice going, Merkel. Only 1 more to go. I'm a mite rusty, Joe, but I'll loosen up. Stop trying to show off or you'll throw out your arm and blow the game. Glad you called time, Sarge. My hand feels like chopped beef. Seconds later. You're out. The Bombats win. What a game. Look at my hand on 9 pitched balls. I can hardly move it. Better have the doc take a look at it, Carp. Merkel, that was great pitching. You had to bear down and throw your arm out. You won't be good for any details for a week. Shucks, Sarge. I ain't warmed up till after I throw 4 or 5 innings. Hi, Merkel boy. You got a powerful arm, but I thought you were a right-hander. I am, but I caught my fingers, so I had to use my left. 3 days later. With me managing you, Merkel, you'll be the greatest pitcher in the world. Shucks, Phil. Money don't mean nothing to Uncle Slade. Besides, he don't like to travel. I'll forget our Uncle Slade. Baseball ain't fun without Uncle Slade. Squirrel hunting neither. He like me to hit him in the head. Rocks can mess up the fur. You mean to say you can hit a squirrel but aiming a rock at its head? Sure, can't sell the pellets if you hit them anywhere else. Cuts them up something terrible. I don't get it. Why don't you use a gun? Guns make for heavy hunting. Besides, using rocks, you can carry home more squirrels. Merkel, I think you're giving me some Tennessee malarkey. I'll bet. Hey, you guys dig into those spuds. Chow's an hour away. Meanwhile, a few tents away. Something's up, Joe. The lieutenant's just got a dispatch from headquarters. Wonder if it's bad news. That night, Mulvaney, call the men. We're moving up. Have to be on the road in an hour. Transportation is sending trucks. Okay, Lieutenant. Battle-bound. Merkel, with me as your manager, you could pitch on any team in the country. I ain't never heard of Blurkin. Besides, a pitch for the Raggle Grove 9. Elsewise, Uncle Slade wouldn't like it. Hours later, we'll set up here, Mulvaney. Get the trucks out before they're spotted. As soon as you're dug in, report to me with 3 men. Yes, sir. Later. And by covering this area, you'll get an idea of enemy positions. Get as much data as possible. Mark locations carefully. But be on alert. There are commie squads all over the place in communist territory. If we get spotted, try to settle it with a bayonet. Gunfire attracts attention. Pick up your feet, Merkel. You sound like a herd of elephants. Mike's right. You'll have the whole commie army on our necks, Merkel. Watch it. I'll lay off, Merkel. If you'd listened to yourselves, you'd never heard me. Seconds later. Hey, Mike, what happened to Merkel? He dropped his canteen and he went back to get it. I tried to... Reds! I reckon I'm going to me a little squirrel hunting. Thud. Moments later. Thud. Crunch. Finally back at camp. And the next thing we knew, Sir, Merkel was dropping the Reds with rocks. I still can't believe it. He was almost 200 feet away. Why didn't you use your rifle, Merkel? I figured gunfire would only bring out more Reds, sir. Besides, I'm more natural with the rocks. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Merkel, you can keep on using rocks. That is under certain circumstances. Uncle Slade sure will be glad to hear that. I'll read all my letters to him. Can't your Uncle Slade read? I bet he can't read or write. Shucks, we didn't ever expect Uncle Slade to read nor write. He just likes baseball and squirrels. Uncle Slade must be quite a guy. I'd like to meet him someday. Shucks, didn't I ever show you Uncle Slade's picture? Of course, it's kind of dog-eared. But then, 50's Uncle Slade, he's the best darn hound dog in Russell County. Named after Ma's brother Slade, who died of drinking fermented tater juice. Some days later. Say, where's Mulvaney? Haven't seen him since we brought those commies in. Poor Sarge, I guess he just can't face anyone anymore after what he said about Merkel. Yeah, well, this is one time Mulvaney ain't gonna get that big foot of his out of his mouth. Serves him right. Look out! How am I doing, Merkel? Any better? Keep working at it, Sarge. You'll get there alright. Yep, couple more 1,000 rocks and you'll get there. The end. 12 pages and one very specific question. Does knowing every rule of baseball make you a better or worse soldier? Merkel has an answer. Baker Company is not sure they agree. On to the facts. 1 page of GI facts and figures. Actual military technology from 1953. One-man rocket helicopter, floating ice island air bases, a snorkel truck. Read it straight. Some of this is genuinely interesting and some of it never happened. And in 1953, you could not always tell which was which. The Navy is testing a one-man rocket-powered helicopter of limited cruising range. It weighs less than 100 pounds and will enable the pilot to land or take off on his feet. Detailed specifications have not been released for security reasons. Plans for air bases and weather stations on natural floating islands of ice just 200 miles south of the North Pole are already on U.S. Air Force drafting tables. These islands will be known as T1, T2, and T3 and are believed to be pieces of glacier which broke loose and slid into the sea ages ago. The Signal Corps has invented a sound film so thin that 36,000 words can be recorded on a strip light enough for a pigeon to carry. You're carrying a message that would have taken thousands like you in the last war. The Armed Forces now purchase 150,000 cans of emergency drinking water prepared by a top-secret process. The cans can be taken to areas where local water is impure or whether bombings or explosions have contaminated water supplies, can be dropped by parachute and will float in water because water is sterilized in can. It is excellent for first aid. Every shelter gets a supply of this water. It'll stay fresh indefinitely. The newest gimmick developed by the U.S. Army is a snorkel truck, which is completely sealed and waterproof, enabling it to cross the bottom of rivers at 7 miles per hour. Two long pipes extend above the surface of the water, one for the intake, the other for exhaust. The driver need merely adjust a simple diver-like breathing device for himself and drive the truck right into a river up to a depth of about 11 feet. On land, the truck can make 60 miles an hour and carry a 5,000-pound load. 2 pages of prose. The Scribbler's first mission, a war correspondence on his first assignment. Same format as the tech stories and strange suspense stories. Satisfies the postal regulations. Gives the magazine cheaper mailing rates. Read it at a slightly different pace from the comic stories, the way prose deserves. Private Bob Yates felt the hard stare of Sergeant Guptill, boss of Charlie Company, boring straight through him. On every side he could feel the equally cold glances of other members of Charlie Company. It was all too clear that he was about as popular as an arrival as a case of trench foot. Headquarters tells me you're assigned to Charlie Company as a scribbler, Guptill said in a cold metallic voice. I'm attached to your company as a combat correspondent, corrected the thin, sickly-looking rookie, returning the friendless stare with one of determination. Charlie Company ain't looking for publicity, the sergeant said, lifting his helmet from an ammo crate. We got a reputation of standing on our own. This is no glory outfit, scribbler. Save the newspaper malarkey for somebody else. Private Yates, for all his 3 days in Korea, stiffened at the blast of combat-hardened sergeant. What I write, replied the rookie quietly, is the concern of headquarters public relations unit and nobody else. I'm ready to carry my share of the combat load. Sergeant Guptill pulled a cigarette from his waterproof pack and lit it. You'll start pulling your weight for Company Charlie tonight. Charlie Company tonight. Yates, I'm sending you out on recon party up Hill 227. It was cold up on the heights that faced Hill 227 as Private Yates, along with Corporal Dolan and PFC Reynolds, faced Guptill for instructions. Intelligence got reason to expect a counterattack by the Reds from over his summit at dawn tomorrow, he was saying in a low, rasping voice. We're going to hear them to the punch with an uphill push tonight at midnight. Private Yates swallowed hard as the sergeant continued. We want to sound out the ridges for burp gun nests. Artillery will give you support as soon as you draw fire. Pass the word by walkie-talkie. Yates looked at the weary faces of Dolan and Reynolds, who were nodding methodically. His newspaper training told him that these men who could be trusted to do the dirty work. The lines around their eyes and mouths reflected the experiences gained in 100 previous missions just like this one. Bob Yates had been assigned to public relations, but he was no greenhorn in the way of infantry warfare. 10 months on maneuvers in the States before his transfer to public relations had beaten into him the ABCs of valley and mountain fighting. And now, as he inched his way up the heavily wooded heights between Reynolds and Dolan, he was putting his training to good use. Even though he moved as stealthily and noiselessly as they did, he could feel their hostility towards him. If things got hot, he was just dead weight as far as they were concerned. They paused at the shelf indicated at point X-ray on the command post map for a final breather. Where did you say you came from? Asked Dolan. There was no enthusiasm in his voice. Chicago. As far as we're concerned, you're still in Chicago, grinted Dolan. Don't get any ideas of your own about fighting this war. You don't fight with a pencil. Watch us and do like we do, or you're a dead duck. Bob Yates only nodded, but inwardly he burned at the scorn in Dolan's voice. What could he do to make these old-timers warm up to him? It was now less than 100 feet to the top of the ridge. They were inching their way to a point between the 2 markers where headquarters intelligence had indicated that 2 burp guns nests were located. As they halted, Reynolds drew a grenade from his belt, handed it to the rookie, and pointed to the upper left-hand target area. He handed another hot egg to Dolan and pointed to the right-hand target. From the heights above, they could hear the low Chinese voices muttering. The Reds weren't wise yet. Yates felt his stomach tighten. He was going to have plenty to scribble about, if he ever lasted out his first assignment with Charlie Company. POC Reynolds had his Browning automatic rifle cradled in readiness now as he nodded to his 2 pitchers. Give it to him when I count 3, he whispered. In an even lower tone, he breathed into his walkie-talkie. Stand by, hijinks. That was the word for artillery. As Reynolds counted 3, Yates and Dolan moved as one man, pulled the pins, and hurled their messages of death. Twin eruptions rocked the heights. Flame and sound competed for supremacy where the 2 burp gun nests were alleged to be. At the same instant, Reynolds opened up with his BAR, spraying the 2 locations with a relentless fusillade of bullets. There was a whoosh of air and big explosions over the ridge. Artillery was delivering its barrage overhead. Twice more, Yates and Dolan pitched their grenades. Twice more, the ridge reverberated. There was no returning gunfire. Yates reached for his carbine to increase the fusillade, and all at once there was a blinding explosion that spun the rookie halfway around and knocked him flat on his back. He saw the gun fly out of Reynolds' hand as the other pitched forward. Dolan was clutching at his stomach and moaning. Yates seized the fallen automatic rifle, swung it to the left, and opened fire. He heard a cry of pain, and then for a moment there was silence. He'd guessed right. The Reds had planted a sniper to flank their lookout post in case of infiltration. One more grenade from this lookout might have finished them. Suddenly, a deadly raking gunfire poured down from the ridge at a new point. They'd shifted gunpoints, trying to outguess an Allied rake. He dived quickly behind a ledge, dragging the moaning Dolan behind him. But one look at Reynolds told him the PFC would pour no more volleys for Charlie. Ripping open an aid kit, Yates poured sulfa powder into Dolan's wounds and bandaged them as well as he could. Another grenade shook the ground nearby. Machine gun fire picked up. New burp gun nests were springing into action all along the ridge. There must have been half a dozen spots headquarters had never heard of. The Reds were surging out of their nests, ready to wipe out the raiding party. Before he knew what he was doing, the rookie picked up the BAR and charged uphill. Firing as fast as the weapon could pour slugs. He felt stabs of pain in his arm and leg, but he didn't stop. Not until the charging horde of Reds had been cleaned out. The Red charge had been broken, but they had been smashed and driven back before they could regroup. The path must be cleared for that Allied offensive at midnight. Scurrying back to the ledge where Dolan lay, he grabbed the walkie-talkie once more. "Okay, high cheeks," he barked. "Bring the hot stuff down another 50 feet. Just give us 30 seconds to clear out." He remembered vaguely slinging the limp Dolan over his shoulder and staggering back down the mountainside. He followed the trail of the stream until he reached the command post. In the background, the mountain was rocking to the now solid barrage being laid down by High Jinks. They had the burp gun nest zeroed in as per Yates' instructions. That was all he remembered. When he opened his eyes, he was aware of Sergeant Guptill staring down at him. There was no cold look in the sergeant's eyes now. "You saved the day for Charlie Company, Yates," Guptill was saying. "But where did you ever dream up that one-man offensive? No one told me all about it." Private Bob Yates, no longer a rookie, grinned. "Newspaper man," he whispered faintly. "Used to be a police reporter in Chicago." The end. Scribbler gets his story. Now we get to the good part. And here we are, the Yardbirds. 6 pages, Dan DeCarlo on pencils with Rudy LePic on inks. And the reason I picked this issue. DeCarlo in 1953 is DeCarlo finding his footing. The clean line, the expressive faces, the specific gift for drawing characters who are perpetually one step behind the situation they are in. Wendy and Whitey are not stupid. The Army is just a system specifically designed to confuse them. Colonel Fumes represents the system. Mrs. Fumes represents the part of the system that the Colonel has not fully accounted for. 6 pages? Read it like Hogan's Heroes, because that's exactly what it is. "Hey, Yardbirds, I got a swell assignment for you. I want you to inspect all the mess halls. Come on, Chuck's waiting." "Boy, Inspector Generals, that's us. Here we come, Sergeant Gruff, sir. I can't believe it. For once, Gruff's giving us an easy job." Colonel Fumes. Better half thought she had the servant problem licked when she collared Privates Wendy Bragg and Whitey Hicks to cook and serve dinner for some Army brass. She didn't know that even a baked potato in the hands of the Yardbirds could be a secret weapon. "You dirty double-crosser. Inspectors. Ha! Come on, snap into it. You got 1,237 more garbage cans to go." "Sergeant, I have a detail for those 2 nice young men. They just shipped my cook and butler overseas, and I have an important dinner tonight." "You want them chaps, Mrs. Fumes. You welcome to 'em. Plenty welcome. A few minutes later, in Miss Fumes' kitchen. You look splendid. You see, Colonel Fumes and I are having a very important dinner tonight. 2 generals. Oh, swell. How do you want them cooked? Some roast, huh, Whitey? That's nothing. I'm gonna bake a cake. Cake, huh? What kind of recipe you using? The recipe for this here cake was handed me by my grandmother. I carry the formula in my head. Boys, the guests have arrived. Come in and fix the drinks. Fix? All you need's a bottle and a glass. What's a glass for? What kind of cocktails is this, Hicks? That's a bazooka, sir. It's like a Moscow mule, except that you use gunpowder instead of mint leaves. It's liquid fire! Several bazookas later. That's not a bad drink, lad. Strong, but tasty, once you get it down. Now, General, as I was saying, quickest way to lick the enemy is to work out a secret weapon that'll blow them up all at once. Bah, you're all wet. Wham! The way to lick the enemy is to tie him down so that his entire force is unable to make a move. Like this, see? Punch! Very interesting point, sir. First, pin the enemy down, then work him over. You got him. Isn't that right, Fumes? Yes, sir. That's right, sir. You keep out of this, Fumes. That's an interesting idea of yours, General, except for one thing. It can't be done. That shows how much you know. The enemy can be pinned down, and I know how to do it. What have I said? I don't know how to do it? Nobody does. You say you can do it? I'm going to make you prove it. Break it up, fellas. Soup's on. Dinner is served. Mrs. Fumes, dinner gets off to a flying start. Would you mind serving me my salad undressed? Yes'm. I hope I'm undressed enough to suit you, ma'am. He's into it. This is the last straw. Hey, heads up, everybody. It's hot. Ha ha, he pinned you down, General. Get it? Pinned you down? Permit me, General. Blasted Fumes, I'm being incinerated. Oh, help! Courage, man. Help's a coming. There, now, don't that feel better? Yeah! Oh, they're murderers! After them! Blow them up! Nonsense! Pin them down! Help! We're stuck! We're pinned down! Pinned down? Don't stand there tasting us. Do something! Cake batter, and it's pin them down. Those men have discovered a new secret weapon to pin the enemy down. I gotta find them. They're heroes! And you do something about us first? They'll never find us here, Whitey. Oh. No? You hear what I hear? Bloodhounds. The hounds got their trail now, General. We'll have them in a minute. Remember, don't touch a hair of their heads. These 2 geniuses are going to be commissioned as colonels in the Chemical Corps. America needs them. I recommended you lads for commissions and decorations. Quickly, the recipe for that cake you were baking. Huh? Cake? Huh? Your grandmother's cake recipe. Give it to him, Whitey. We're in. The recipe for that cake of yours. You pinned down an entire enemy force. You discovered the world's most powerful secret weapon. Recipe? Let's see. Yeast. Gosh, I forgot it. 2 weeks later. That's my orders. You guys stay here till you remember that cake recipe. Please try again, Whitey. Please! 6 pounds of yeast, a handful of raisins, 2 cups of gunpowder. Nope, that ain't it. Jeez, it just seems to skip my mind. The end. Wendy and Whitey survive another encounter with Colonel Fumes. The Colonel has not yet figured out how. On to the helicopters. Flying Jack of all trades. On September 14, 1939, a centuries-old idea came true when a man accomplished the feat of flying straight up. America's first practical helicopter became reality. 2 years and 4 months later, the first helicopter designed for the Army Air Forces made its maiden flight. Gentlemen, mark my words, the helicopter brings a new era in military warfare. The helicopter was not used under fire in World War II, but it was tested thoroughly. Then, when war came to Korea, we're organizing a special helicopter squadron for rescue work and any other tasks they can throw our way. The Reds are in for some surprises when they see our Sikorsky S-51S. I think that's what it said. The helicopter soon proved its worth, rescuing wounded and isolated men. Take it easy, boy. They'll have you at the base hospital in no time. The Navy's use of helicopters has released destroyers from escort and guard duty. Hey, you guys are on the ball. I haven't had time to get wet yet. Tactically, the helicopter has been indispensable. Radio the base that the red left flank is being reinforced. Then we'll head down the line and lay the cable for the quartermaster. Early in 1951, the H-19 Sikorsky 535 was developed and put into service, capable of carrying 10 passengers. It lent itself perfectly to troop transport. On October 11, 1951, in Korea, a full battalion of Marines was transported from one fighting area to another by helicopter. The rescue of more than 3,000 GIs in Korea has proven the value of the helicopter. Its peacetime possibilities are unlimited: mail carrying, firefighting, police patrol, lifeguard duty, etc. The GIs of Korea will never forget the flying jack of all trades. We close with Joe turns frogman. 8 pages, Irv Novick again, and a tonal shift back towards straight war adventure. Joe gets an unusual assignment involving a frogman suit and whatever is underneath the Korean coastline. After the comedy of the Yardbirds, this one lands differently. It is a reminder that the same magazine that ran DeCarlo's absurdist military comedy also ran genuine war adventure in the same issue, sometimes on the same page. That mix is very much of its era. A soldier never knows where his duty may take him. Joe Burch, serving in Korea, couldn't dream the strange assignment that was to take him below the surface of the sea. Joe's weirdest adventure started when Captain Eugene King gave instructions to Lieutenant Parker of Baker Company. G2 gives this assignment highest priority, Lieutenant. We've got to locate the commie anti-aircraft battery that's been downing our planes. I'll put Mulvaney and Burch on it right away, sir. They fought over that terrain last year. If any 2 men can find that hidden battery, they can. The submarine will land you behind the commie lines. Remember, you're to pinpoint the battery for our bombers. Don't try to fight them yourselves. That's an order. Did you say a sub, sir? Yes, sir. What do I do, Joe? I'm scared stiff of small places. Can't even go into a telephone booth. And now a sub? You better get on move, Sarge. They're waiting to cast off. Sergeant Mulvaney and Private Burch reporting, sir. Fine, we'll cast off immediately, McPherson. You and Templus show these men to their bunks. Glad to have you aboard. Just call me Runt, and this is Toodles. The submarine Pelagic sets off to land 2 GIs behind enemy lines. Thanks, Buster. Here, buy yourself some water wings. You trying to be funny? Come on, we're supposed to take you to mess. Look, steak, french fries, ice cream. In the infantry, we get K rations. Boiled, fried, and scrambled. Yep, the poor dog faces we're fighting this war. Knock it off, mate. You want I should pin a medal on you? Doodles, that character could become a menace. What do you say we give him the old shut-up treatment? Yeah, put him in with the torpedoes. Right in here's the lounge, Sarge. Make yourself at home. Don't worry, Gob. I will. Slam. Hey, I'm trapped in here. Let me out. Joe! Joe! What's going on in here? I was dying in there. Where's that Runt? Let me in or I'll kill the Joker. You and who else, dog face? Hey, break it up. The skipper wants to see the 2 doggies. We're coming in, men. In 500 hours. It's still dark outside. You paddle in using the rubber boat. We'll be back for you at 2100 hours. Good luck. 2 GIs head for shore in a small boat. Once ashore, Joe and Mulvaney start exploring a familiar terrain. I dug this foxhole back in 51, remember, Sarge? Here's where we stood off that suicide attack. I don't want to break up your sweet memories, but let's get out of here. Wow, my feet hurt. We've been tramping for hours. Remember this place? Here's where we captured that commie colonel. Hey, what's that down there? Mulvaney, down there, where the commie CP used to be. Look! I got a good mind to toss this down on him. Hold it, Sarge. Remember the look's instructions. Oh, there's a patrol coming. That was a close shave. Well, come on, Sarge. We better get back. Yeah, maybe I can get in some sack time. I can sure use it. Once back at their rendezvous, Joe and Mulvaney wait until... Mulvaney, wake up! Sub's here. There's a signal. Hurry up. Skipper's waiting for you. We gotta get out of here. You'll find the coordinates on this map, sir. We've got the commie battery pinpointed good. Well done, Sergeant. You better get some rest aft. Oh, it's you, Joker. Come here. I got some unfinished business. Anytime, dogface. Anytime. Suddenly, with a shriek of tortured metal, the sub shudders to a halt. Trapped. The anti-submarine net has caught a gleaming metal monster. The net's over the conning tower, sir, and we can't open the escape hatches more than a foot. A foot? Nobody can get through that. I can't, sir. I'm the smallest man aboard. Clad only in a diving helmet, Runt squirms through the hatch, carrying an oxyacetylene torch. The magic of oxyacetylene, which burns underwater, enables Runt to cut away the net. As tense minutes pass, Runt cuts through the metal strands, and then a mine exploded with high explosives breaks free. Look! That mine! Duck, Joe! It's gonna explode! Miraculously, the mine floats free. Its dead-ending spines miss the sub. It's alright, Mulvaney. Runt's back at work. You know, there's a guy with guts. Whew, that was too close for my Irish ticker. The net is cut. The sub is free. And then out of the murky waters, attracted by the torch's flare, a monster shark attacks. A crashing blow from the powerful tail, and Runt is knocked unconscious. Easy prey for the killer. Joe, where are you going? Somebody's got to save Runt. I gotta get that hatch. Maybe I can use this. But the fury of the shark's attack tears the torch from Joe's hand. Wham! His senses reeling, almost unconscious for lack of air, Joe hurls a grenade into the shark's gaping jaw. Then, as Runt recovers, BAM! No diving helmet. I got him back in the sub or he'll drown. Once inside the submarine, Joe! Joe! Speak to me! Joe! Whew! You threw quite a scare at us, soldier. Thanks to you and Runt, we're on our way. A day later, their mission accomplished. The Air Force got your report. I just received word. The commie batteries have been wiped out, thanks to you two. Well done. Runt and Tootle are good shipmates, both of them. You know, Joe, I thought those dive boys had it easy, but now I'll take a foxhole anytime. And that is G.I. Joe, issue 21. Ziff-Davis, May 1953. A Kentucky private who processes warfare through baseball rules. Two soldiers who cannot get through a single assignment without Colonel Fumes finding out about it. Joe Burch in a frogman suit doing whatever his country needs. And on the back pages, a 70-piece Space Patrol plastic kit for your consideration. Flying saucers, rockets, and men from Mars. $1. I am told this was a good deal. What I want to say about this issue is what I want to say about all these comics. When they are working, they understood their audience completely. The soldier reading G.I. Joe in 1953 wanted to see himself reflected accurately. Not just the heroics, but the boredom, the bureaucracy, the sergeant who does not make sense, the assignment that seems designed by someone who's never been near a battlefield. DeCarlo's Yardbirds got that. The Merkel baseball story got that. Even Joe in his frogman suit got that. Sometimes the army just sends you underwater and you go. Ziff-Davis stopped publishing comics in 1953. This is one of their last issues. Nobody bought the rights. Nobody is reprinting this. It just exists. The way a lot of good things from that era just exist. Waiting for someone to find them at 1 a.m. on a website that archives comics nobody remembers. That's us. That is SL Tonight. Felix Lubezki signing off from the Funny Pages. Good night.